Dumping it inside. Boston lays it in.
Kind of a telltale sign. We made it, but it's not enough. So.
How much confidence did you get?
Throwing it inside Boston. Although he made it, it's not enough. So how confident is he? One dream, three ladies, and a night that revolutionized basketball. Aliyah Boston, forever on September 22nd. Fans were left speechless by what transpired when Kelsey Mitchell and Caitlin Clark took the court for their playoff debuts. The arena erupted with excitement as the three stars took center stage, and a staggering 1.8 million people watched from home. Yes, even with NFL games on, people couldn't resist the allure of this momentous occasion. We want to make it to the playoffs, we want to be in the playoffs, we want to just keep competing for a championship. But what made this night so special was the Clark effect. The ticket prices for this game even surpassed those for the WNBA finals last year, which is not just growth but a revolution. Before we break it down, remember that this is the Indiana Fever's first playoff game and history is already being written. The team was about to enter a new era and we were all witnesses. Each player was about to unleash a performance that would leave jaws on the floor. We're talking career-defining plays, record-breaking stats, and moments that will be replayed for years to come. This wasn't just another game, it was the beginning of something big and a turning point for these three women. Congratulations, Aliyah Boston. You are very remarkable. Let's start by focusing on Aliyah Boston, the 2023 first overall pick. She had experienced her share of setbacks, but something had shifted that led to her development from a mediocre sophomore to a double-double monster. The adventure that would reshape not only her career, but the entire Fever series holds the key to the solution. What or someone might have ignited this blaze in Boston? We'll discuss that transformative success when Boston joined the Indiana Fever as the 2023 top draft pick superstar later in the video. Expectations were quite high, but the reality was severe. With an average of 14.5 points, 8.4 rebounds, and 2.2 assists per game, Boston won Rookie of the Year in 2023. In contrast, Indiana finished the season with 13 wins and 27 defeats, struggling and finishing as one of the league's worst teams. Boston's pre-Olympic break numbers were identical. The Fever's pre-Olympic record of 11 wins and 15 defeats demonstrated their 14.2 points, 8.7 rebounds, and 2.7 assists per game. Although this was a better trend than the previous year, the squad still had a losing record. These figures hardly represented the potential of a player who was meant to be a pillar of the team. Critics started to speculate that she might not be able to manage the demands of the professional league and that she would be another draft failure. I mean, Aliyah is probably one of the most diligent players I've ever encountered, and yet she really wants to improve and be great, and she doesn't take any of that for granted. She works hard at her craft, and basketball will often reward you for it in this way. However, after the Olympic break, something clicked for Boston. Perhaps it was the time off, perhaps it was renewed focus. Whatever the reason, the Aliyah Boston who returned was a completely different player. The numbers speak for themselves. Prior to the break, Boston was good after she became unstoppable. Her scoring average increased, she drew rebounds, she blocked opponents everywhere, and when the Atlanta Dream came on September 9th, they didn't see it coming. In addition to having a fantastic game, Boston made a statement as they exploded for a career-high 30 points while grabbing 13 rebounds. Aliyah Boston had arrived 2 words earlier, Aliyah. The greatest was still to come, but Boston Baby and I only received 3 words. Pressure was on Boston to reply with a performance on par with the greatest of all time for their September 22nd playoff debut. Only 2 other players in WNBA history have ever recorded those numbers in their first playoff game. Her 17 points, 11 rebounds, and 2 blocks may seem impressive on any night, but they were part of a historic playoff debut. This is Liz Cambage and Lisa Leslie's first playoff game with the spotlight on, and she stole the show. The first night that Lisa Leslie's first playoff game with the spotlight on, and she stole the show. What's so amazing about Boston's journey isn't just the individual honors. It's also how her development reflects the Fever's metamorphosis as the team regained its identity. Losses turned to victories, doubts turned to faith. With a double-double in her playoff debut, a team that hadn't made it since 2016 unexpectedly returned to the hunt. In addition to being a fantastic individual effort, Boston's playoff debut marked the end of a year-long transition, from question-seekered pro to franchise. While Boston dominated the paint that night, another Fever star was on the verge of having her own breakthrough moment. This player had had years of struggle with the team waiting for her chance to shine on the playoff stage. If you've watched this far and are enjoying the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications. Cornerstone went from being an inconsistent starter to a double-double machine, from potential to performance, but Boston's story is only one piece of the puzzle. We understand that watching this video takes up some of your time, and we appreciate that. Now let's get back to the action. One word best describes Clifton M. She is a pure scorer, the second overall pick in the 2018 draft, and one of the best players in the NBA, as Boston dominated the paint. What happens when years of disappointment abruptly give way to opportunity was about to happen to a 7-year veteran. For 7 long years, Kelsey Mitchell had been the Indiana Fever's heart and soul. However, those years were filled with more heartache than glory. Imagine playing in game after game, season after season, only to watch the playoffs from home. That was Mitchell's reality, as the team lost a whopping 149 games during her first 6 years with them. There was even a year when they only won 5 games, but Mitchell never gave up. She kept striving, kept getting better, and never stopped believing that her time would arrive, and on September 22nd, it did. Kelsey Mitchell is, well, exceptional and different. She consistently ranks among the fastest players on the court, so you can plan for her to get a touch in any situation when her speed will get her open. When Caitlin Clark arrived, everything changed for the Fever and Mitchell specifically. Defenses were unable to concentrate only on stopping Mitchell, and the floor opened up, giving the seasoned guard fresh possibilities. The results have been explosive since the Olympic break. As a powerful tandem that is giving opposition coaches nightmares, Mitchell and Clark have been on a roll, both ranking in the top 3 in terms of points scored. These are the top 3 scorers in the WNBA since the women brought home the gold at the Olympics a few weeks ago. 2 of the players are from the Indiana Fever, Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell, and Mitchell's scoring average soared to a career high of 19.6 points per game. The player who had endured years of hardship was finally getting her chance to shine. Mitchell did more than simply show up. She scored 21 points, pulled down 3 rebounds, and provided 5 assists. One of the Indiana Fever's greatest playoff debuts. The years of disappointment and innumerable losses vanished in a night of pure basketball. The excitement in the arena and the weight of years being lifted off her shoulders with each basket she made were more important than the numbers. Despite her brilliance, Mitchell played for everyone who supported the squad during the difficult times, not just herself. Her performance with Clark and Boston hinted at something more significant. The changing of the guard marks a new era in which the Fever is no longer the league's doormat, but rather a formidable force. Concentrate for 40 minutes and compete. Not for myself, but for the Fever. But in the end, you know I have a lot to fight for. Mitchell's path is a challenge. Despite coaching changes, roster overhauls, and seasons that seem to go on forever, Tate remained faithful to Indiana in a league where players frequently leave at the first hint of difficulty. Mitchell stayed the same, and now that Boston is in control inside and Clark is attracting attention, everything is finally coming together around her. In the same way that Mitchell changed from a gifted rookie many years ago to a postseason performer, the team has changed from being perennial bottom feeders to playoff contenders, and Mitchell is free to do what she does best, light up the scoreboard. It's a tale of perseverance, diligence, and the conviction that better times were always around the corner at home. As Mitchell's journey picks up speed, Clark shoves Mitchell's rear door, laying it in. A new celebrity was ascending. Although Caitlin Clark came to Indiana with great hopes, nobody anticipated how much her postseason debut would challenge her in the face of hardship. How does a novice react when the light becomes even brighter? The answer is making history. The effect of Caitlin Clark on the Indiana Fever is more than simply a player. She is a phenomenon who is attracting more attention to the WNBA than ever before. Since her debut, ticket sales and attendance have increased dramatically. Caitlin Clark is much better than everyone anticipated. But with all the excitement comes a lot of pressure, and as Clark took the court for her playoff debut, the pressure was evident. Fans were expecting more than just a good game. They were expecting greatness. However, controversy broke out early in the game, and Di Carrington of the Connecticut Sun poked Clark in the eye. It was a tense moment that could have shaken a weaker player, but Clark erected herself. She dismissed it with the composure of a veteran, refusing to allow the incident to divert her attention.